Welcome all. Yesterday, in the Belgian capital, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev agreed to form a bilateral commission to delimit the border by April. I'm joined now by CivilNet contributor Tigran Grigoryan to discuss this. So, Tigran, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, with regards to this bilateral commission, what did you think when you saw this news?
I think it's a significant backtrack for Armenia from its previously stated position. As you know, it was clearly stated in the Sochi statement of November the 26th that before establishing a bilateral commission on delimitation, demarcation, concrete steps had to be taken to stabilize the situation on the Armenian-Azerbaijani border, to create environment conducive to this process. I predicted months ago that Armenia would eventually abandon this position because Azerbaijan is using its coercive diplomacy, and it has been quite effective so far. So that's what actually happened. Armenia abandoned its position. Now a commission will be established without any steps taken to stabilize the situation on the border, to create some sort of safety and security on the border, and Azerbaijan will be able to actually continue instrumentalizing its policy of coercive diplomacy even during the process of delimitation and demarcation. So this is a very dangerous development for Armenia. I mean, it is also important to know that we are talking about a bilateral commission. So there is no talk about any kind of mediation, third-party mediation. So it's very hard to understand how Armenia is going to resist all the pressure coming from Azerbaijan when there are no even mediators involved.
Mm-hmm. And when Azerbaijan committed major incursions in November 2021, shortly after we saw the Sochi agreement and a flurry of diplomatic activity, and you mentioned that Azerbaijan's diplomacy has been quite coercive. What should Armenia do then in those circumstances when Azerbaijan's aggression kind of forces the Armenian side to the table?
First of all, Armenia shouldn't create such dangerous precedents, like agreeing to a position which does not provide any security and safety in the region. Mm-hmm. This weakness, Armenia's weakness, will further provoke Azerbaijan to commit further acts of aggression in different parts of the state border and in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict zone. So this is very dangerous, and this is not the first time Armenia has been abandoning its earlier declared positions. We remember that after the Azerbaijani incursion into the sovereign territory of Armenia in May 2021, the Armenian officials, the government of Armenia, stated that no negotiation process would resume until the Azerbaijani forces are actually leave the territory of Armenia. In 2 months, the negotiations resumed, and we have the second precedent when Armenia has a declared goal, a declared policy, and then it just abandons in a matter of hours, I would say.
And originally the position was that the situation on the border has to first stabilize, and then processes of delimitation and demarcation can begin. We saw what happened in Parukh in Nagorno-Karabakh recently that left 3 Armenian soldiers dead. Now the border is supposed to be delimited by the end of April, but the situation hasn't stabilized. Do you think it's actually realistic what they've agreed to?
I think they have both the mediator institution, the EU, and the side. They have a clear distinction between the situation in Nagorno-Karabakh and the situation on the state border. However, it is dangerous indeed, and it is, in my understanding, unrealistic to expect that Azerbaijan won't use this policy again to pressurize Armenia into further concessions. In this statement issued by Charles Michel in the aftermath of the meeting, it is said that this border commission will be in charge of delimitation and demarcation and ensuring the stability on the border. I think this point was included in the statement to give Nikol Pashinyan a chance for face saving. Now Nikol Pashinyan could present to the domestic public this point, saying, see, this issue is somehow addressed, but I'm pretty sure it won't be addressed, and Azerbaijan will be periodically creating escalation on the border to achieve its goal. You have mentioned the situation in Nagorno-Karabakh and the situation with the Parukh village and the Karaglu Height. It is absolutely astonishing that there is not a single word about this latest escalation. I mean, there are some neutral words about the need for stability in the region, need for security and so on, but nothing specific about the latest escalation. And this is also worrying.
And furthermore, the Armenian side has been consistently saying that any settlement or resolution or talks should be under the auspices of the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairs. Was this again a position that was deprioritized by the Armenian side, in your opinion? Yes,
absolutely. That's another position that has been abandoned by the government of Armenia. As you know, when Azerbaijan published its proposals, peace proposals sent to Armenia on March the 14th, the Armenian side replied saying, we basically accept these proposals, but we have several other issues to add to them, and we have sent these proposals through a Minsk Group country to Baku, and we think that the Minsk Group should be in charge of organizing the future talks. Now, as we can see from the wording in both the Armenian readout of the meeting and in the statement issued by Charles Michel, nothing is said about the OSCE Minsk Group. The foreign ministers were given assignments to start preparatory work for the peace talks, so it probably could even be a bilateral process, and that's what Azerbaijan has always been aiming, to have a bilateral peace process, and the aim is the same, to be able to pressurize Armenia, to be able to coerce Armenia into different concessions.
And obviously, this agreement took place in Brussels and was mediated by the President of the European Council, Charles Michel. There is a perception that there may be a tug of war between the West and Russia with regards to who will mediate the talks between Armenia and Azerbaijan. What do you think of that perception? Do you really think there is such a thing going on, a tug of war?
Yeah, I think there's a competition going on, and it has been going on for months now, even before the outbreak of war in Ukraine. And it is very interesting that these meetings mediated, organized by the European Union, have been more productive than the meetings organized by Moscow. Productive meaning they have produced certain results, certain outcomes. Yeah, the European Union seems to be trying to replace the OSCE Minsk Group format, and I think especially in the aftermath of the Russo-Ukrainian war, we will see further increase of the EU role in the Armenia-Azerbaijani context, and the decrease of the OSCE Minsk Group role, which had already been insignificant in recent months.
And Tigran, what about the future? I mean, are you optimistic? What do you think will happen next?
No, I'm not optimistic at all. What I'm seeing now is an attempt by the European Union, by a mediator institution, to establish a peace, a victor's peace, at the at the expense of Armenia, when Armenian interests are not taken into consideration at all. This is the third statement issued by the President of the European Council when there is not a single word said about Nagorno-Karabakh or the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. And that is outrageous, taking into consideration the situation we have in Nagorno-Karabakh, the situation of creeping ethnic cleansing, the Azerbaijani policy of creeping ethnic cleansing. And when you are an institution like EU, when you talk about different values, when you present yourself as an ideational superpower, and you ignore the elephant in the room, you ignore the fact that Azerbaijan has been implementing a policy which aims to depopulate a territory from its native population, and you're not even capable of talking about this problem. I don't know what peace you are talking about. This is not a peace. This is just some sort of imposition on Armenia of certain terms that benefit both Azerbaijan and the European Union itself.
Okay. Well, Tigran, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on CivilNet.